Welcome back, everyone, to the Legacy of Love, the Return of the Divine Cosmic Mother. I am super excited to interview my guest today, Merissa Indigo, where we're going to be talking about bridging heaven on earth, embracing the cosmic Sophia Christ within. We are creating the bridge to heaven on earth and anchoring the new paradigm of new earth energies through our hearts and our bodies. Divine Mother Sophia has so many forms, and she is here to share this information from an earthly or Terran perspective as an ascending crystal planet, along with the Christed galactic star families of Lyra, Andromeda, and the Pleiades. Each of these star lineages, which we share DNA, has unique tools and technologies of light to support us to raise our frequencies and to continue forward and upward. The forward and upward momentum on the spiral path of ascending consciousness. So I'm pretty sure most of you know Merissa, but for those of you that don't, Merissa is a blue ray indigo sapphire light technician. She has this insatiable thirst to explore all subjects related to health, our inherent human potential, the essence of consciousness, space weather, and earth-based indigenous traditions and sciences that drive her daily to work for all of us in humanity. At the age of 8, Merissa experienced her first major awakening in the hospital after a near-death experience. Since then, she's become a metaphysician since early childhood, with initiations with the angels and star family to resurrect her soul purpose mission here on Earth. Merissa has accumulated a library of knowledge combined from life experience and study. She serves as a bridge to New Earth's soul-leveled embodied living with Sophia Seraphim, Rose Council, and the Emerald Ray at Gaia Sophia. So, Merissa, I just want to welcome you and thank you for saying yes. I am learning to just really hold you so near and dear to my heart as I get to know you better and see that you really truly are this beautiful light that is here to help uplift us all right now. So I welcome you, Merissa.
Thank you so much, Sherry Lynn. Thank you so much for that beautiful, warm welcome. And just want to say hello and aloha to everyone here. Thank you for being here with us at this amazing time and welcoming you into this temple of nurturing today with us.
I felt that temple as you and I were speaking even before we pressed this record. And I don't know why I want to ask you this, but I noticed, use the word aloha a lot. And I didn't really know the meaning of that before, but can you share with us why that word is so significant and what it really stands for?
Oh, absolutely. So some of you may know I grew up on the Big Island of Hawaii. So it's kind of part of some of the Lemurian connection there. And aloha means it's almost like the Hawaiian version of a namaste. So the ha, right? In Egypt, they called it the ka. It's the breath, the respiration that is the body and the soul combining with the breath cycle. And so ha is to welcome in, to acknowledge the presence of another soul with you in this now. So aloha.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that because it's when we learn, even when people used to do the namaste and I didn't really know what that meant, but when I finally realized, oh, the light, I'm acknowledging the light in you, sees the light in me. So when you were sharing the ha, the breath, our breath that is connected to spirit, our spirit, to the spirit, great creator, that all of us are connected by this, our breath. Oh, and if we only knew how powerful our breath really was, because most of us take our breath for granted. We just assume, we don't even focus on it. But I will say for myself, when I realized the power between like a breath and really just taking that breath and acknowledging this for my spirit, and spirit is within me, that shifts my consciousness just like that. and I'm with you, and I'm with whoever. So I would love to hear you share a little bit about that, because that was profound what you just, haha. And the,
Mm.
tell me one more time, what does that mean again? The ha is like the acknowledgement of our spirit.
Yeah, so it's really amazing because this is a wonderful segue into kind of what we're talking about today, which is seeing how our entire earthly experience is just it is not separate from the absolute divinity of star family and the angelic realms. I mean, it is all coded. And so, Polynesian language, another light language, indigenous language, another light language. So aloha, the ha. The ha is your soul, which is demonstrated by the breath, the spirit inhabiting the physical temple. And what you said about breath was just so beautiful, Sherry, because that's exactly what we want to share today is the simplification of the presence of ourselves here in this now and how breath can be an anchor. And so if you imagine the inhale, the inspiration, right? That is the word for breathing in and feeling this levity, this lift, this rising up to the heavens through our being. And then when we exhale, and anchoring into this moment, into this dimension, into the planet. So there's this constant, levity and anchoring in. So it's like we keep rising high to root deep, rising high, root deep, this infinite cycle.
I love that. And what I was thinking as you were sharing that is this is the lifetime for us to be fully soul embodied and divinely embodied. And so, as we, before, in times before, people were always trying to transcend, to escape. But now, with all of these energies and all the light workers like you that are doing so much for us, we're actually being called to bring it back in and to embody our our sacred sovereign selves.
Yes, and we
Yeah.
would say that that's a rewrite of transcend, because the old paradigm meant to go outside of yourself and to, like you said, to escape, to reach for something unattainable, which is a huge trap, a fabulous trap, to make it really difficult for us. And so what we understand of transcendence is that it's actually going deeper within and that is the act of transcendence because we're not leaving. There is nowhere to go. We want to fully land and arrive and embrace this experience because it's all holy. We're the only ones that maybe have thought that it was otherwise, or were told that it was otherwise, maybe based on past experience. But the wholeness is here, the holy, holiness. And we joke around like, are you feeling holy? Like HOLEY, are you feeling holes? Or are you feeling HOLY, the holy, the wholeness, playing with the words.
Mhm. It's so powerful. My two favorite words are actually holy and sacred.
Mm.
And we do begin at some point in our journey, begin to realize that we are that. And when we were just talking that for you, this has been a period of um going within a lot. You've been called to, you've been kind of had one thing after another, and it's just calling you to go within and to nurture that. And that's what I believe, COVID was the beginning of that for so many of us, but we're continually being called to go within. So I would love to hear a little bit because of your own experience with this and what actually happens when we do allow ourselves to carve the time and to form that connection with ourselves, to recognize holy and sacred energies within ourselves.
Well, a wonderful and tangible way to assist everyone to begin this process, which I'm sure you've already begun it because you're here with us. And one of the things that Divine Mother wanted me to make sure to say, to remind everyone, is that we are all masters here. We're already masters here. It's why we came. So we have to drop any of the reasons or beliefs or anything that would say otherwise and just embrace the love, regardless of where we are. If we're having a dark night of the soul moment, wherever we are, to know that we can be both because our truth is that we are both. And so our brains are learning, how to not go black or white, how to be all at once. And so the most tangible way to initiate this process is being with nature. And that's how it started for me, going out onto Gaia and just observing, what do I feel with this tree? What do I feel on the breeze? What is it telling me? And just connecting with the natural world, the colors that you see. Those, it's all information and messages, the rays of color that are around you. Um, Starting to connect with the senses. And that's where we talk about this activation of the senses being temples. What are we seeing with our eyes? What are we hearing with our ears? And maybe what are we smelling and tasting? And I'm a very tactile person, so I'll go out there and I'm touching the moss and I'm touching the bark of the tree and the earth and being very tactile to activate connection. And what that does is it supports us in kind of descending our consciousness fully into the body, fully into this now, to feel the richness of this now so that we're not locked in the head. And that's really what it's about, is coming fully so that we are using the entire body to perceive the experience in this now. And then you'll start to find interesting. So my mind, and thought precedes emotion. So my mind So my mind is in this place perhaps of looping or something that's causing a sensation of suffering that I have to go through and witness. But then I go out into nature and she's just holding me and demonstrating such profound peace and beauty. And then it's like, oh, I'm hearing the birds singing. And it's like, oh my gosh, when I'm out of my head here and in this present experience and just observing it like a meditation in a way, just taking it all in, absorbing all of this, it's heavenly. And then you're like, oh, so that's kind of in contrast with where my head is, and then it starts to assist us in opening up so that we can expand beyond whatever it is that we're working through, to find our harmony again, to find our peace and our love again. So that's a wonderful way to begin to see how much just everything is a gift that we have been given in the physical experience.
That's so true. And it just reminds me as well, Merissa, is that another thing that we take for granted all the time. And so what you're saying is by allowing ourselves to connect with nature, we're actually enlivening these senses that we have within to start to recognize ourselves as more these subtle bodies, more energetic beings. And uh, by doing that, that actually is almost like an activation, would it not be?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
so that's, for me, that's how the embodiment process started, was being with Gaia herself, learning from her and all of the different kingdoms, the animals and the plant elementals. I'm really big on working with the elementals to learn and to become them. And that's like a Vedic practice they talk about. There's the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali can be really supportive. You can just flip through it and see, and there are these witty, the sutras, which means a thread, these witty short aphorisms of knowledge. And they talk about, well, anything you put your attention on, you become. So you think about the elephant, and then all of a sudden you start to feel what it would be like to be an elephant and to be really large, and all these different things. So I do that with the elementals, with the trees, and being shown, oh wow, look at how the tree is, always extending up, up, up towards the sun, and then it's always rooting down deeply into the earth, very interesting. So we can start to learn from what's modeled around us with the divine templates of nature. And that starts to help us assist us to see, like, oh wow, I'm feeling myself actually in my body now. So instead of feeling maybe disconnected or more robotic or just cerebral, all of a sudden, you're feeling yourself in your body. And then that starts to open you up to energy. So we go from the gross or material realms, the denser realms of physicality, to then all of a sudden feeling the energy that animates that. And then it starts to get really fun. And that's what we're going to play with today, is energy and breath and feeling Divine Mother in all of that. And starting to expand our concept of space, that there's no such thing as empty space, actually.
Well, then, you know what? There's probably no better moment than right now to actually take us through this process and allow us to experience that.
Wonderful. So I want to invite everyone to close your eyes, and we'll do a little bit of breath to kind of get in the zone, and I'll just guide you through the process. So I invite you to close your eyes, and we're going to start with some nice breaths here of inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out through softly parted lips. So inhale in through the nose, softening the eyes and mouth and tongue and jaw. Exhaling out through softly parted lips. And continuing with this, inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. And feeling how the inhale is quite nourishing and warming. It's the fire elemental when we inhale through the nose, it's divine masculine. And when we exhale out through softly parted lips, we are stimulating the waters, the yin, the sacred feminine. So starting to balance those primordial forces of creation, we must balance the sacred fire and the sacred waters within our being to find our peace, that balance, that harmony. So allowing that breath to anchor you, feeling the exhale assist you to anchor your consciousness more deeply, landing into the body, intending to arrive and land in the body now, feeling yourself arrive from the skin in. And first of all, just enjoying how the breath can anchor you and expand you so that you feel rooted and expanded. And there's a safety there. And with that, we'll continue with this breath and inviting you now to see your root chakra, and seeing your root chakra as this beautiful garnet or ruby red, just assisting the support of our root, our connection to the earth there. Your own individual plug-in to the divine matrix of the crystalline grids of New Earth. And just seeing that beautiful ruby glow. And now bringing in magenta, beautiful magenta, divine mother ray, kind of fuchsia and magenta and orchid purple and rose petal pink. Yeah, beautiful. So beautiful way to begin. And just enjoying your breath here. And we invite you to claim your moment here. And just simple statements, deep heart practice. Here I am in this now, in this summit, having this experience. And just enjoying this now, starting to feel that there is a presence here, a fullness in this now. And we're calling in now Divine Mother Sophia, Divine Cosmic Mother, and Mother Mary, and Yeshua, and the Magdalene energies, Mother Earth, and the Pleiades, and the Andromedans, feeling this grandmother energy, this star mother, the seeders of the planet, activating that connection where we are family as humans here, brothers and sisters here. And just enjoying. And then we invite you now, you can softly open your eyes, but stay in the frequency here. And I invite you to make a circle with your hands and arms in front of you. And feel that you have created a container with your arms and your hands, and you are containing space in this circle here. This is an appreciation of space. One way to explore the space here is to put your arms in this circle, become aware of enclosed space. Just notice what is there. And you're welcome to relax your arms if you want. You can even just rest your hands on your lap and still have a circle shape if you want, if your arms are getting tired. So you're still making a circle, but you can have your palms stacked in your lap. Notice what is there. Be curious. Let space be itself, infinite, as you embrace it. Embrace the nothing that is simultaneously everything. and calling in this deep stillness and starting to feel this connection to Divine Mother. There's a support, almost like you feel an energy hugging you at your back. And the words are pregnant. The energy is alive around us. Now imagine you're encircling the whole universe with your arms like this. What quality of awareness do you bring to this embrace? What textures of creativity, love, and welcoming do you want to give? And now we shift this. Be the universe enclosing you with love. Seeing yourself now, we welcome in the golden heart activation of the unified field, where we are embracing the universe and in turn being embraced. Welcoming in unconditional love. Welcoming in unconditional self-love with Mother Mary and Gaia Sophia, our star family, our ancestors, and the Rose Council. Seeing ourselves just surrounded in this giant golden heart, the heart of the universe. Seeing ourselves simultaneously hugging the heart of the universe into ourselves. And also being in the center of it and being hugged and embraced and surrounded. Be the universe enclosing you with love. Welcoming the birth of something new. Perhaps a remembering. And with this, we invite you to hold the frequency of connection and to remember, allow yourself to remember. We ask our light bodies to activate and install this memory that all we have to do to feel connected is to remember that we are connected and to ask, may I feel this connection, please? I'm having a hard time perhaps today, or I'm struggling with this, or I forgot for a moment. I'd like to feel you, please. And we invite you to come back to this experience of feeling hugged and embraced by the universe, by Divine Cosmic Mother. And to remember that the way to feel this connection is to embrace it yourself. That's the way back. So we just kink the hose sometimes. We forget, our heart closes. It's all right. We're learning. We're in the process of remembering and forgetting, remembering and forgetting. That's how we keep expanding. And just enjoying your breath with this. And I hope that you feel really full inside and outside. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. That's so powerful and so beautiful. You know, I often wonder how Loren can even do this when you go through these kind of things. It's hard because you drop into, well, have been experiencing something so powerful where I'm dropping into my body, and it's really hard to form some of these questions because my mind and my heart are like almost one, becoming one, and it's an experience that you can't really explain.
We're learning heart speak. We're unifying, and we learn to speak from the heart and just let the heart speak. And we don't even have to think about it. Just embrace being the receptacle and just trusting your voice and trusting as the instrument. You are an instrument. We're all an instrument. And the throat crystals line up. It's really wonderful. Just trust.
Yeah, and as you just did that, I was thinking of the chalice, like the God, that we are that, and we're filling this up, and it's coming in, and the energies are pouring into us.
Yes.
And allowing ourselves to receive. And some of us have had such a hard time in receiving and even softening and accepting ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then we place so much is projected onto others because we don't know how to accept ourselves. And that's, I feel like, the real truth is that everything that's external to us, and this is why Ho'oponopono is so beautiful too, because it teaches that, it's not about anything outside of ourselves. Everything that we're seeing on the external is all about what we're needing to heal on the within. And it's so hard for the mind to grasp that. But when you begin to experience these energies within there aren't even the words to express what this is, because my mind is grasping for answers, and it's not going to get there. But I realize the mind and the heart are becoming one, unified. And so, as I think that happens as we begin to accept what's on the exterior. Can you add to that?
I would say that it's love. We start to build this relationship with our higher self, our mighty I am, whatever you want to call it, your universe, your soul. And we start to realize, wow, this presence has been with me the entire time. We were deconditioned away from understanding how to hear it or trust it. And we reflect now in our experiences that no matter what we've been through, it was all love for our expansion. Lessons to remember, to expand, to learn by contrast. Humans learn through contrast. We would not know great love if we did not know great suffering. All of the things, all the balance. And so the wonderful metaphors that come through with this beautiful question that you're prompting all of us here is remember the breath. What is breath? An infinite cycle of inhales and exhales. When we are learning to receive, we must remember that we have to inhale, and it is natural. And one of the phrases they gave us was, you are returning to your nature. It is your nature to be receptive. And we come with, all those beautiful sayings of, the universe has our back. Everything is for us, actually. And if we can start to soften and ease in, instead of the old ways where we are bracing for the next impact, bracing ourselves for the next pain or whatever it is, it's a softening, and these shells start to melt. And as we learn to trust more through experience, you have to have a couple experiences to start to build that. It's building a relationship. Just like with any partner or friend, you build a relationship through time and experiments and back and forth energy. And then with that, it's also the figure 8. So those may be some helpful codes for people, is remember that the breath is an infinity loop as well. Inhale, exhale. And the infinity loop, that it's all this beautiful reflection for us, through us, as we are unified with God, an individuation of oneness, having its own unique experience, just like our fingerprints, Yeah.
So beautiful. I remember when I was first learning to meditate too. And, I didn't know why I was doing this, but there was something within me that recognized doing the infinity loop and visualizing it and even swaying my body as that. It immediately brought me into a place where I was within my body. So anybody that struggles with meditation, it might work for you. Try it, see if that helps. It did me. It relaxed me, but then I learned as I was evolving too, it meant so much more than I ever thought. And that the infinity loop has many, many expressions, not just balancing the masculine and feminine, but I mean, even when you run it vertically and you connect, for example, your heart with your crown, or, like at the bottom of the earth star with the soul star, and meeting in the heart and things like that. And so I remember even learning there was a technique when I was taking some energy training that they would do over a burn patient all day long. They would rotate people, and they would be doing this infinity loop over them to heal them.
Incredible.
I know.
I know.
I know. So you know what? Since I seem to be at such a loss right now because I'm witnessing this thing happening within me, it's like I'm struck with this powerful wave of energy that literally tears want to flow. And most people would not understand this because the mind can't understand it. It's the experiential. And I remember resisting that for a while because my mind was so busy wanting to, it's like, you don't have time. You got a million things to do. And stop it.
Yeah.
But that would be, the gift we can give ourselves is slow down, connect with the breath, and allow yourself to begin to experience yourself as sacred. Anyway, I invite you right now, Merissa, to begin to share with us a little bit about what your offer is going to be, because you are such a powerful, you just are in, like you, anybody that comes into this conversation may not know with the mind, but you witness, you feel this energy that you're emitting to all of us, that we're all benefiting from and raising us up into this frequency. And so I'm just going to turn this over to you and let you let you take us away to that place.
Thank you. Well, I'm guided to share a little bit about how I got here with everybody, because everyone has this capacity. We must allow ourselves to love ourselves wherever we are. And one of the biggest activations I received was that I could be going through a major program, a major deprogramming, deconditioning, and have a lot of pain and dark night of the soul kind of moments, contractions, allowing these things to come up and out and through. Because we're going through this, a lot of squeezing right now, to just continue to squeeze off these layers where we have separation, unworthiness, we're reprioritizing what our value is, we're learning so much, remembering so much, deconditioning so much. And these experiences always come, we call it the mirror verse, like just like what you were saying, the external showing us, because otherwise we can't see it. So this is the divine design. It will show up in your face. It might bang us over the head a couple times, when we have resistance. But the practice is to feel this great love that is here and is always here in the background. And that's why some people talk about the divine mother, divine cosmic mother energies as this background energy. It's this backdrop. And that is the fullness of space, what we once perceived as empty space, right? And in Sanskrit, they call it the akash, the akasha, ether. And there's this electrical quality when you start to tap into it, of this enlivening love. There's a pulse there. So even when you're in your darkest moments, or you're looking at, oh my gosh, I made this mistake, or I went unconscious and I betrayed myself. These are very important themes to understand, that it is time to absolve ourselves of judgment for our trespasses. I mean, how else are we going to learn, everybody? This is the great mastery school, remembering that we are masters. So we have to trip in order to stand up. We rise every time we rise. We never stop rising. And so the betrayal programs are really big. We're seeing these play out in worldwide events. So it's all part of that purge, And so I just felt really compelled to make sure that no matter where you are and what you're going through, love is present for you too. And that will assist you to balance out the experience, and also assist you to expand and to allow it to run through you, run its course, show you what you got to see, and move on again. It's part of that quantum jumping, Yeah, so I just want to make sure that everyone feels that supportive energy is here for us to go through a lot. There's a lot of, our distortions are all coming up. We're in an expedited way. So I just want to make sure that it's really important that we talk about this, because it's all here and it's not a bad thing. And we're learning, our minds, the way the linear mind works is this or that, I'm this or I'm that, and so much judgment of ourselves. And the words I was using with Sherry off before we began was self-flagellation, the self-punishment. I mean, my God, the cross, the albatross, carrying the albatross, or carrying the cross up the hill on our back. We've had these lifetimes many times. And it's now we have the luxury, the gift of being able to see and embrace that it's this and that, not this or that. It's unified. So
Exactly.
just wanted to share that.
Yeah. And I just want to acknowledge that that's so powerful and is so true. It is so true, because a lot of times healing, when we begin this healing journey, we're still beginning the journey. And I can only use myself as an example and know this for a fact. I did it from the outside, the personal self. And then life sort of happened to me that it arranged for things like you were talking about. if we don't really get it, there's going to be more, and it's going to get even more powerful each time. And so life arranged for me to go within for about 4 years, which was a blessing because up until that point, I was still so outer focused. I will say though that there was this huge shift in what my mind thought was forgiveness was still outside the things that had happened to me. And so even though I needed to start that way, and it was really important that I did, what I found very healing, and this may work for others, I would think it would. I've talked about this quite a few times. That song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. Everybody knows that song. And I would literally see myself in the song, it says, and let it begin with me. And so that's how I would enter meditation. And that would soften me. And I would open myself, and literally, I'd be joining hands with people like you, and we would be healing humanity and sending energy going around Mother Earth. Because you can do anything as energy. Like our energy has no beginning, no ending. It just is, we're big, huge, giant waves of love. Mm. And so what happened with that is I remember my husband, well, ex-husband, but at the time I was quite angry and bitter. And I got to a place of forgiveness, and I brought him in, and I brought his new wife in and his daughter and everything in. And it felt so good and so healing because it wasn't coming from my mind. It was literally coming from my heart. And so after that, I began to experience waves of energy moving through my heart, moving through my body, actually. But it was when my heart opened, I realized it was when my heart opened. And that actually, the opening came when I committed to service, because I was now no longer thinking of me. It was like, how can I serve? And so I just wanted to use even myself too, because as you were sharing yourself too, it is a journey, and it is one where we begin to witness, um, we begin to experience ourselves as sacred, and witness that silent observer kind of, and seeing things from that perspective. But it's a journey getting there. And so that softness, that compassion, it all has to start with self, because if we truly want to move into unity consciousness, we can't move there until we look Ho'oponopono again. We cannot get there by thinking something is outside. It's all within. And then when we heal within, everything on the outside has changed. And so I realized there was nothing to forgive. It only brought me to the place I needed to be, which is home, which is the sacred, which is my heart. Can you share a little bit about the heart, though, before you move into your offer? Because it is important, right, that we get to the heart opening, because that is where we get to experience ourselves as soul.
Absolutely, yes. And I want to share that I guess that's why we were guided to share a little bit about balancing, starting to really allow ourselves to see the heart as massive as it truly is. Because when we first start opening the heart, in my experience, the first things that come are the painful things. And this is part of the Yi, our masters here, is that I call it the firewall, the firewalk. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, this is really tough, to go through this. And it feels like energetically, the mind, it feels like, oh, I'm just not going to survive this. There's an ego death component attached to it, or it's so massive. This grief is so massive that I can't handle it. It's going to take me out. These are the initial perceptions of the massiveness of that energy. But what it's showing us really is how much power we've given to this thing and locked it, held it within. So it's important to know that there will be cycles of, different walls that we have to go through, painful experiences, memories, painful emotions. But that's part of being an emotional being. And that's actually, the emotions are we could say vulnerable, but now we see vulnerability as the greatest superpower, because the words that have been coming to us this year with all this water energy is that the great awakening is now the great softening. and the great softening open. And so you're like, okay, I receive this. I'm going to be open with this. I'm going to trust this, and whatever it is. So just know that's normal. And it's only a few experiences that could seem really, because it's part of the shamanic ego death, we are decompressing the aspects of the psyche that feel disempowered, or small or victim, right? So we are, all of these, you could say, are ways of going from victim to co-creator, you know? And so it's just important to be really raw about that is, yeah, there are going to be some brutal things we have to face, like, wow, look at where I abused myself, or continue to do that or betrayed myself. We got to get really raw and really real. But that's where your power is, because then you are freed from that. You no longer give power to that outside scenario, story, situation, person. You reclaim that for yourself, very powerful. And then with that, you feel that huge love that's right behind it. And so then you start, as you're like, okay, I'm committed, I'm a warrior of love, like, okay, and I love working with the holy fire to assist to burn through, or the different light rays or violet fire, working with candles to assist us to burn away, and asking for that crystalline clarity to be restored so that we may accurately perceive and continue, on that, no matter what the mind thinks it is. Keep going. And then you get through and you're like, oh gosh, that wasn't so bad. I had some tears, I moved through, and now I feel expanded. I feel lighter. I feel, I see where so much of my energy was locked down with that. And I didn't have that energy. It wasn't for my use. Very powerful. So just know that, another way we like to look at this is the quantum surfing. You're surfing, and sometimes the waves are really choppy and it looks like a tsunami, a tidal wave. You're like, oh my God, I don't know if I could surf this. So that's when you come back to your breath, and you can ask for support from your teams, reach out to people if you need a support. Well, there's so many wonderful professionals, ask for help. Know that you are worthy of help, and that whatever you need, the resources will come to get you through to the other side. And the expansion that comes from that, after a few rounds of this in the boxing ring, you start to realize, wow, the rewards of this are so juicy, so rewarding, so great, that it becomes fuel. And you're no longer afraid of the big emotions anymore. We go from being afraid of them, giving our power to them, then we have resistance. That's okay. It's all a gradual, like a calibration to becoming more comfortable with being an emotional being. And then as this clarification starts happening, this clarity, we come more into our crystalline consciousness. Then we have cleared so much in our field, in our heart, that we have more access now. We have made space to receive our gifts and beautiful synchronicities and more alignment with divine destiny. Alignment, because we are starting to unify more instead of just these chunks, going off all these directions. And it's just this incredible process. And that's what we say is the spiral path. You may return to a program, an emotion. Oh God, there we go again, but yet you notice you're at a higher octave. It has less power over you. It takes a little less time to go through that one and see, thank you for teaching me, next. And all of a sudden we're just quantum jumping, surfing in our mastery. And just so much more starts to come online from that. And then when we live in more of a clarified space, then the past stuff comes up. The past life stuff comes up. And then collective stuff, because we're all these like crystalline, conduit tubes, receiving information and energy from everyone in our environment. So then you start to see how we're doing collective grid work by doing our own healing, because we see something that's like, oh gosh, that's so horrific, and it strikes a chord in us. So then we're going within and seeing, how can I work with this energy? How can I bring more, the serenity prayer, calling in, where is this within me to rectify the battle within? Where is my head saying, take a side? Went on Around Earth. I love Wayne Dyer. Round Earth, there are no sides. Yeah. And so you see how, isn't it great? Like just living consciously and doing our best. And it's not about being perfect, and starting to allow that everything is sacred. Even the ugly stuff, even our shadow, it's all sacred. So that's the thing, is we want to start integrating, like, oh, I don't like that about myself, or I'm scared for anyone to see that, they're going to judge me, they're not going to like me. We want approval so badly. And that's what I love about Divine Mother, is she just sits, we sit with her, we're crying, all these things, and she's just like, you don't need to do anything to get the love right now. Just feel the love. You can feel this, and let the love come and assist you to move through that. And then you have your peace again. And there's so much freedom. So much freedom. That's what I want for everybody.
And I second that because it is so liberating. So there were a few things that you said, and you were talking about raw. Like, first of all, the great awakening is the great softening. So isn't that beautiful? Like for all of us just to soften and to open ourselves up. And then you mentioned the word raw. And, for us to be really authentic, we have to get raw. So raw is, for me, it's real, it's authentic, and it's wise. It's wisdom coming from us
I love it.
when we allow ourselves to be in the energy of our raw vulnerability.
Mm.
So now the rest has left me, so I guess it's not important, but it just is such a beautiful, when you do move through something and you're in it, it's hard to see the wisdom. But boy, once, because I just had this happen to me too, where I moved through something. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Our journey, I feel like, is one of all of us is here to empower ourselves because so many of us are codependent. And that's such a big concept that most of us don't even realize what codependence is. It's like literally how we identify ourselves is through others. That's where we get our sense of self often. And so we're here, each one of us, I believe, is on this journey of discernment. What's real for me? What do I accept? What is really, truly, in my greatest growth and service and stuff. And so a lot of that is dissecting, our beliefs that have been given, even what you were saying, the paradigm, it doesn't have to, it should not be this or that. It's both and. So that's part of it. But then also, so then when we get to the empowerment stage, that is so like, wow, you do see that I had the power to move through this. And now I gained the clarity once I moved through it, the wisdom from it. So you're right. As we go through the spiral, the next time around, we bring in that wisdom. That wisdom is part of the guide that helps get us out of that cycle again. It's shorter each time, and all of a sudden, there's no energy to that lesson that we've been here incarnating to experience. And you move on, like you said, to healing past lives and then the collective and everything. And so we're always continually healing, continually. But it is such a beautiful journey. And then we eventually get to this place of liberating ourselves, freeing ourselves. And you just experience yourself from such a different place but yeah, it is the energy that's coming in, more and more of our higher self coming in, allowing ourselves to to remove these obstructions, these blockages, these things that have been keeping us trapped in only physical expression experience of self. And so, I just love being with people like you who lift me up and remind me and bring me to this place of really being in my heart, which for me is pure love, joy. So I thank you so much for bringing you, Merissa, all these beautiful qualities that you have brought into our conversation and allowing me to experience them and then everybody else who is witnessing this conversation. And I know you were going to go into your offer, but you just opened the door. So now I am going to I'm going to ask that you share a little bit about, but I'm sure like everybody can see, like working with you is profound. It shifts. Something happens. I know it's not just you. You have a lot of support. So with that, dear Merissa, I invite you to share with us what your offer is.
Do we have time to share one more thing?
Yes, of course we do.
There's so much that they want to share. And now the Syrians are like, this is the moment, share this. I want to share this. I'm told to share this because this will support to motivate our dear friends, our dear family in the audience. Motivation is so helpful, you know. You were talking about the spiral path, you know, and all of these shifts that start to happen. And I'm guided to share that this is what starts to create these nuclear atomic reactions that connect us with our solar light power when we have more clarification and we execute our power to choose. And we're doing the journey, then this amazing thing kicks on, and it's like a nuclear reactor. If you could imagine us and then this massive column of light that's like 1,000 times the size of us, okay? The Syrians gave this to me a few Julys ago, and it's called the light core. And it's this like battery light beam tube that is this nuclear atomic power that is the true power of our divine self, our divine humanity, when we've done more integration. And we're not ever disconnected from it. There's not a, you know, oh, you can't have it right now. You're not good enough. You haven't done enough work. No, no, no. Just make sure that's very clear. We want to show you that this is part of us, and that the more you connect with your love and unifying your energy so it's no longer split off into all these things, then you get access granted, you know, and it's based on your own work, but to this light core that is this massive atomic potential of energy as a creator, a co-creator being. And it becomes a magnetic energy to assist you in aligning your realities, you know, unifying everything, going forward in that harmonic, that new earth life. So you're creating that experience for yourself, showing others how to do it, you know, and leading the way of living a conscious life. So the Syrians wanted to really assist, hey, make sure we share about the light core, because that you'll start to feel like, wow, you know, I feel more whole, I feel more complete, and so empowered and just focused and connected. And all you have to do is continue to affirm that you are whole and complete, you know, and divinely perfect all the time, and let it come through. You'll expedite your process that way. That's another big trap we have in the consciousness journey is, oh, I still have more work to do, or when I do this, then that will happen for me. Maybe we, you know, dissolve the constraints and the limitations. Just wanted to share that.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you to the Syrians, you said, right? I think, so beautiful. Share anytime because it's so powerful. It is so beautiful to get to experience this and to hear the guidance and the wisdom and the flow, feel that love coming in. So, yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. Now we can move on to because you were mentioning the Solaria too. And so I hope you talk about that a little bit too, because that's coming into my consciousness stream too. And what you shared with me was so powerful because I didn't know. I just all of a sudden started hearing this word. And what is that? I knew it was like something, but what's the significance? What is trying to come in? And so, yeah, every time it's powerful when we understand that this really is about us learning and evolving and growing and expanding and like it really is. This journey is the journey of the soul. This really is the great awakening and the great softening.
And that's why they told us the great softening and the great softening open, because we are learning that we can embrace everything because it's already all here. All of the codons are already here. It's all locked and loaded in the DNA. It's just a matter of aligning with it. You know, we call it the frequency differential, where there's just the light starts kicking things on for us. And it becomes really fun and adventuresome because you're receiving a lot of information and connection and memories in your own libraries that are housed right within you, just by embracing the process, no longer resisting or judging. So those are the biggest pieces. And with the special offer, we have option 1, where I'm sharing what are some of my favorite courses, mastery empowerment courses here. And it's about Mother Mary, the Magdalene, the Sisterhood of the Rose tribes, the Lemurian connection there, Rose Council. And the Rose Council are who I work with in my oracle work. When I started my oracle training, my formal training, we were told to ask who are we going to work with in this great work. And I heard, oh, the Rose Council and the Sophia Seraphim. And the Rose Council is Mother Mary and Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and Mother Isis and Archangel Michael and Joan of Arc, Saint Joan of Arc. So we have a wonderful, team of beautiful beings to assist us really coming into our power and our courage, and embracing that love is the true power. And it is so powerful. And then with that, the solar cosmic Sophia Christ. And so the more we embraced Gaia and the earth, and then our body as an extension of the earth, the more the energies began to open and star family and connections with the sun itself. So I'll share the courses. The Holy Womb Chakra with Mother Mary. This is a very powerful, deep healing of all, it's for men and women. And it starts with our earthly or Terran experience of the mother wound, where we have intergenerational trauma because we all went through the amnesia process, right? So there's a great deal of ancestral clearing in this, but it's really embracing the mother wound and starting to open up to the light body technology of the divine feminine. That is available for all. And it's a wisdom embodiment. It's an actual chakra that we have, all of us, male or female, that is in the grid architecture of the light body that connects us. It's like a ethereal umbilicus to divine cosmic mother, to work with her, to be with her, to feel that love, to pour it through you, and also for healing and all kinds of things, all kinds of things. So that's the Holy Womb Chakra, very powerful Vedic technology brought from the Septa Rishis for this time. And it's part of the Immaculate Conception energies as well. So it's what many of the divine feminine priestesses like Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, and Mother Mary and Isis, and many of these goddesses throughout time, they were practicing divine birth, the cults of divine birth. So there's a lot of amazing mystery with this, in addition to this technology. Calling all the holy women. And this is to support the activation and embodiment of sacred divine feminine leadership for those who are really feeling called to step up and serve and perhaps support women, girls, children. And it's not limited to any of those things. It's whatever, divine feminine leadership means to you. But it's really supporting, trusting the call. We hear that call. And it's a soul call and a heart desire. And that's where if we start to trust these calls, miracles start to happen, and it may take a little bit to learn that trust, that we're building that relationship, but that's really powerful. The Emerald Ray Covenant of Gaia, Sophia, which is an incredible codex that she gifted me in the Olympic rainforest, where she showed me, Gaia, Sophia, Mother Earth, how us choosing to live our conscious life and choosing to embrace our sacred mission, regardless of perceived obstacles, right? This helps us go through our lack consciousness, worth issues, so many things that she will support us. Gaia will give us everything that we need to fuel and to thrive in our divine service mission. So that's the first part of this course. And then there's the Rainbow Prism Flames of Solaria. So it's connecting with the earth to then expand and connect with the solar codes. And it's a Trinity Heart activation for our divine human activation. And it's a very unique course because I'm actually sharing multimedia in this course. I actually have video footage of Mount Shasta, caves in Mount Shasta. So we do inner earth. I mean, we go from the mountaintops of several mountain ranges that I work with grid work, all the way to inner earth and rivers and waterfalls and all kinds of codes to show you sacred geometries available in the flowers, to show you how the starseed codes are in everything, actually, in our earthly experience. And part of this came from, a deep grief of missing home. And then it's like, oh, the more you embrace earth, actually, you realize that it is encoded with everything from everywhere that we came from, and starting to embrace this as home. And then final, what you were asking about, remembering Solaria. And this is the codex of solar cosmic Christed DNA. What we have been shown with this is that each of us has the codons within of our solar cosmic Christ, our inner Solarian, these solar temples within, solar light beings. and we hear the phrase, sons, S-U-N-S, sons of God, where we all came to shine as a son in our own unique expression and mission, and also our personality, right? Our individuation of our higher aspect self integrated. And in our study, in the oracle work, we actually were guided to explore many ancient cultures that discussed the ascension process, the physical ascension process, what's going on with the solar cycles and the solar space weather, and how all of that photonic light impacts us on Earth and is causing a lot of symptoms, upgrades. So it's a really cool course because we go through time and space, and the PowerPoint shares a lot of ancient cultures from Egypt and the Mayans and even ancient India. They all talked about how we are solar beings, and it's about opening up and expanding and embracing that again. And a lot of support for the physical ascension process, learning the space weather. So yeah, there's a lot here to assist you to really enjoy what is here for us. There's so much.
Mm. And you're such a beautiful teacher. And this I know personally. I've experienced it, and I'm excited to do it again. And so everything, you've got everything for everybody, all of it. What was coming to me though is what a wonderful time, because all of this is available to everybody right now. There's not one person who, if we have that desire and we have that intention and passion to do this, we can do this. And it's it's so beautiful. It's like I invite everybody to really truly, there were so many wonderful speakers in this whole summit series, to everybody coming from a place of purity. And that's what I think has struck me, and to the place where even saying that word now is it's I'm discovering words are not just words. They literally are this vibration that comes in as soon as you say it. If we're in that space, it shifts, has the power to shift our whole being. And so, Merissa, you were so beautiful, like not only on the outside, like you look like a goddess,
Oh,
and but your heart is so pure, and you have this great desire to awaken each one of us. And I thank you so much for that. Yeah.
thank you so much, Sherry.
Another
I'm just
conversation that I have loved with you.
mm.
Love. I love our conversations. And so, Marissa, is there anything else like that you would like to share, to add, or just even to, this is called the legacy of love. What is your legacy that you are leaving, gifting us all with?
Mm, that's a wonderful question. Mm. I would say it's a legacy of truth, that we are divine and we have always been divine. And everything that we experienced, so even when we had less consciousness, it was all part of this. So to really look at everything with that lens, like you talk about the sacred, that it's all sacred. And to embrace that, the more we embrace the sacred, the easier it becomes to be who we naturally are, our divine nature as beings of love.
No wonder it's called the great softening, because that is what we're doing. We're softening into this experience where most of us have been so hardened,
Yes.
shut down, created that heart wall, and now we're being, each one of us is given this opportunity to drop those, and to be so compassionate and loving and kind with ourselves.
And I love what you were saying about words, and the power of words. And so with that, I'm hearing also to remind everyone that our previous experiences with love, many were unconscious. So there's a difference between unconscious human love with a lot of conditions and rules and strings and all kinds of messy, gunky stuff, and divine love, the unified field, which is unconditional. There is a depth there that is so unconditional, and it will bring you to your knees because you will see everywhere that you have not allowed yourself to be that because of the
Yes.
rules.
Mm,
Now we get to dissolve that and to
mm.
embrace something completely new that is supernatural, that is our true nature.
It is supernatural. And so, you know what I'm noticing? My conversations all are coming around to being parenting now, to these young children being born. And so, as we're talking about relationships and how we've been conditioned with love that's not even a genuine love or true love, or love of self and then love of others. But so parents, right now it's so important that we do this for ourselves so that we can raise these conscious children and relationship. If you ask me, if I could, you know, don't even enter into a relationship until you know yourself and you really fully integrate your divine masculine and divine feminine. And that's been our big split, is that we associate, we're looking for something outside of us to fill something that we do have within. We just have detached from it. And so it's like really integrating these energies of both the masculine and the feminine so that we can become these divine expressions and in union with that. And so the relationship we're seeking is genuinely the one that we can gift ourselves.
Absolutely. It's all about the relationship with yourself.
Mhm. So beautiful. So beautiful. So when we splat, it's actually, let's celebrate a splat, because it's really only intended to be like your inner GPS guiding you back home. Come back home. Anyway, I love you.
I love you too. Thank you. It's been so beautiful. So
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. I thank you. And again, I asked you the legacy. Any final words, anything you want to share with the viewers as we come to an end?
Trust is a big one. Trust and faith in yourself. Those are the other keys to unlocking deeper love, just continuing forward, greater trust, faith, and love.
Mm.
And like you said, raw. I love that. I love what you did with raw. It's so good. Can you say that again? I think we should close with
Like,
that.
it's when we're real, when we're authentic, and when we're wise, like the wisdom is coming through. Listen to the wisdom, be raw, every one of us. Let's live these authentic, real lives where the wisdom is coming in and available. So that is raw.
Mm. Well, and we could go on forever.
I
I,
know.
another thing coming through here is this remembering that everyone is on their own journey. So if you're partnered, if you have children, if you live in a multi-generational home, we have the holidays coming up. Remember that everyone is on their own unique path that is appropriate for them and what they can handle, right? What's aligned for them at soul level. So you're going to have all different levels of consciousness. And it's really also important. What I've been seeing is, oh my goodness, look at how many hearts are opening. Everyone's hearts are opening, and that looks different for some people. Some people have never spoken up and gotten loud and maybe yelled, and it's different. Everyone's having a catharsis. And I think what's really important in my personal experience is to allow people to have their experience, even if it's messy, even if it's not perfect, it's not the most graceful, eloquent language, whatever, things are getting hashed up. It's important that we allow people to let this out and not judge them and not judge ourselves also for making these mistakes and keep prioritizing the love. So a lot of relationships are going through a lot of shifts right now, friendships, colleagues, everything, family. And me personally, experience a lot of judgment for being emotional or sharing and saying, hey, this really didn't feel good to me. I felt like this, and sharing and just assisting everyone to hold ourselves accountable. And that even if it's not perfect in how it comes out, can we come back to love as the focus to continue to move through that together, to evolve the relationship together? Because I see these images, of like the tribes, and they all have their hands on one person in the center that's really going through it. And they're all loving that person, even when that person's freaking out or having a moment. dealing with their inner ugliness coming out. Can we just embrace and love everybody in that place? Look how the world will shift so quickly. And of course, it starts within.
Mm.
But can we encourage that compassionate, conscious communication? Even if we go unconscious for a minute, can we bring it back to consciousness? Say, I'm sorry that I said that, but I love you. Can we move forward? It's really important because there's that battle energy that separates us, and then we get injured and we close our hearts down, and then we don't evolve together.
Mm. That's so important.
Big one.
Oh boy, we are opening the door for another conversation. But, because what you're saying right now too is that we judge ourselves so harshly too. So many of us are on this path of awakening, and then we go and we splat and we go and do something that we regret. And then we're shaming ourselves, we're condemning ourselves, and we just put the layer back up again. And so that if we are moving into the energy of compassion and love and acceptance, wouldn't that be the test, the lesson right there is like, okay, I'm actually being invited to love myself through this anyway, because it's just energy rising up. It has to rise up in order to move out.
Right.
So don't push it down. Allow it to come up, to love yourself through it. See yourself as the wounded child or whatever the experience was that separated. And just to soften into that and just to love ourselves unconditionally, because then we have the compassion, because we recognize that all these projections that we put on other people have actually been about ourselves, but we were unconscious to it. And so we shut that down and we see through the outer world like, oh my goodness, can you believe that person just did that? It's like, oh, it's like there's something within. And that's I guess why I resonate so much with Ho'oponopono, because it was a miracle hearing about that teaching. But I do know with what you were sharing is softness begins with ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is this a good place to end?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. I hope this has been so nourishing for everybody.
Yeah,
We got this, right? We say, we got this shift.
Exactly. I felt it. So I can only, I think that, yes, each one of us was receiving. I know I was. So I thank you, beautiful Merissa. And I thank you, all of the viewers, for saying yes to yourself and showing up for this sacred conversation. And with that, I send each one of you love, peace, and blessings. Namaste and aloha. Bye for now.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.